Welcome back to Big Content.
I'm Jack Settleman, creator and founder of Snapback Sports. That's Nick Ercolano, creator and founder of Big Dogs Gotta Eat Entertainment Media. And Nick, what do we have on
Entertainment
tap?
Media Incorporation. Today,
LLC.
we are making, no, we're not an LLC. Once you're incorporated, you're no longer an LLC.
You're incorporated?
We are incorporated. We're a corporation. Don't get me off track.
Go
here.
ahead,
I'm trying to dial in right now.
ahead.
Today we're doing predictions. Everyone loves predictions. Ours are less predicting, and more a matter of fact. I feel very confident in my predictions for the creator economy. Now, the prompt is creator economy predictions for the year of 2024 as this year wraps up. A lot of mine, I think, might take a little bit longer to go into effect, but I'm confident on a 10 out of 10 scale, we'll make it through the playoffs, can win Wild Card Weekend all the way through Super Bowl, that these will come to fruition over the next 5 years, maybe 10 years. But for the most part, I think we'll start seeing them become a staple of the creator economy within the next 12 months.
Okay, so
Thoughts?
you're making predictions for the next year, but also the next 5?
I think they'll start this year.
Got it.
And they might not
Okay, so
fully flesh out
instead of
over the next 5,
predictions,
10.
you're about to predict the creator economy trends, and you're calling them early.
Sure.
Okay. All right, let's do it. Go
You
ahead.
start.
Okay, you want me to start?
No, you.
I'll go with a platform prediction. I think that YouTube takes over television. Think about Google plus video. That's what YouTube's going to be. But it's also going to be able to level up, similar to how Netflix started onboarding content, but creating their own content. I just think the searchability, I think YouTube TV was a huge step in that direction. I think that old YouTube people thought of as like goofy, Vine, like crazy thumbnails, Mr. Beast. And I think over the years, between YouTube TV and the NFL Sunday Ticket thing that they've got going on, I think YouTube, when you turn on your television, will kind of just become synonymous with I'm watching TV. And you won't even say YouTube TV because they're going to be the leader in the market.
So you think like the company of YouTube
Google.
is going to
Google,
basically, so the incorporation of YouTube, the LLC of YouTube, if you want to say, will become like the norm for what people think of television in their head.
Yep.
Interesting. I agree with that. I think at this point, that is pretty much norm for me. Like I have YouTube TV. I obviously put a lot of content out on YouTube, so that's like the norm for me. And I think it's interesting, I guess, because prior to all social media, you kind of just like click the TV on and then you were like hoping something hit. Whereas now it's like everything is so customized and you're like, I turn something on, whether it's the phone, my laptop, TV, I know where I'm going and I pretty much know what I'm searching for. And I think YouTube's kind of like condensed that.
I still get that feeling on YouTube though, where I want to be shown new stuff.
You watch YouTube on your TV? Not YouTube TV, but like YouTube on TV.
Like very small, but that's kind of part of my prediction to where instead of having Spectrum and going to watch X, Y, and Z like I did last night, I would just turn on the YouTube app.
Okay. Interesting. I like it. I don't really watch TV much or YouTube on my TV much unless I have like a super specific thing. I find myself doing it with Hot Ones sometimes. I really like that series. That's almost like the only thing I do.
I think that's actually wherein lies the prediction, which is you would watch Hot Ones on TV. Why? Because it feels native to being produced at a quality level that matches television. And I think that 98% of content right now on YouTube is not 98, 99.9% is not TV level quality. It's not serialized. Like you don't build content for YouTube as you would TV. But I think Pat McAfee is the first example of, okay, well, if this YouTube show could easily turn into a TV, like the production level and quality and investment level into YouTube is now going to hit just a different level. And that's my prediction.
Okay. My first prediction is that over the course of the next bunch of years, we're going to see a huge amount of investment money move from these like spray and pray type of investments where investors think they found a good idea or something just to creators and creator-led businesses and creator-led brands. And I think it's really simple. Like I'm surprised this is not already a thing.
It is.
At a very high level, yeah. I think a lot of investors...
You're saying a small level?
That it's not done at a very volumized level yet. It's not the norm at all. Like, I don't think most creators even know they can raise investment money, where I think this will be extremely normal in 5 to 10 years. There will be... I can combine two of my predictions about, like, crowdfunding from, your audience, which is already a thing, but it's really unknown unless people are really in the like creator economy niche. And even those people I don't think are like super in tapped with that. But I think we'll start seeing investment money go into creators because business at a very simple level is any business, realistically, any service, any business, whatever, is distribution and product. It's those two things, right? And distribution in today's world is social media and an audience, and product is whatever you make the product, whatever you want to sell your audience. Creators literally have already figured out one half of the equation, whereas a lot of the times, or in the previous 10, 20, 40 years, whatever, investors have just been putting money into someone that's pitching them on a product, saying like, oh, we're almost like lying to you about having one half of the product. We don't even know if it fits the market yet, right? Where now it's like you go to an investor comes in and is like, I already know what your product is in terms of content. You already have the distribution. And the beautiful part about that too is I think like product and service are a lot easier to be replicatable than building an audience is hard. It's not like a science, right? It's like more of an art. It's like you get lucky in a sense. It's a lot of hard work over a long period of time, but a lot of times you need a break at some point that like gets you there. Product, I feel like people who are really knowledgeable about product, and like if you're a great creator, you could find someone who's really knowledgeable about strategy, about operations, about logistics, about all this stuff that could take you and completely like take over that other half of your business. Where if you have a great product, it's not always easy to just be like, yep, we'll just get the distribution down. Distribution is really tough in today's world if you cannot find that like leverage point. So I think we'll see investors be like, why am I trying to figure out this whole equation when one half is already figured out for me?
My other prediction, or another prediction I had, is actually the complete opposite of that, which I think makes for an interesting conversation. So I am wearing Jesser, who is the biggest basketball YouTuber. He's probably got 20 million subscribers on YouTube. So he launched a shoe. It's actually not a basketball shoe.
You tell him to watch the throne.
We'll get a little better view of that in the camera.
Yeah, it's not a I don't think it's a basketball shoe. I'm pretty sure it's meant to be a trainer. His team, I know his team, he's not necessarily the only person running the business. He has a full-blown team. Like he has a COO, he's got a CMO, he's got a CEO. And so my kind of opinion on that is I don't know if there'll be that many investments in creators, because I don't know how many creators are actually good business minds as they are creator and audience builder minds.
I mean, that's no different than any person trying to raise money when they have an idea. Investors put money into tons of people who are not good business minds just because they thought the product was good.
Sure. And that's why I think I wrote that companies will hire in-house creators and have in-house production. So the equation that they have is actually the product, right? So you're saying creators have distribution. I think that more people are just going to go the route of, okay, we know how to build a really good product that an audience wants. Now we just need to get it out to people. And I think that's the route that they go. Now, I'm not saying there will be no creator investment. I just think when you start to really think about the economics of the whole thing, like it's an even riskier investment than traditional venture capital. And I think, because I've talked to the companies that are looking to invest in creators. And then at least from my perspective, the reason I said no was because I didn't want them to have upside in my entire career versus most traditional investment. Like, let's say I wanted to start a basketball shoe. You could invest in that. It could go great. It could go poorly. If it goes great, I might start a soccer shoe. But that person isn't necessarily guaranteed to be invested versus they were trying to take like 30 years of my...
I think there's probably multiple conversations to be had here. I think there's different levels of creators where if you're starting, maybe I can rephrase what I'm saying.
But that's the problem. The lower level creator, I don't think they're going to get money because there's a million of them right now.
But the scale of it's not like they're going to get $10 million of investment. Like any company needs to be pretty
so you
well
think
established.
It'll be like spray and pray?
I think it will be an unlock of the option being very well known that creators they still have to like qualify and be a good investment for the firm or whatever. But I think it'll be, just as like any firms can invest in real estate, firms can invest in businesses, they can invest in a million different things. There'll be firms for content investors, which is like a thing, but I think it'll be way more widespread. I think it'll be way more platforms and opportunities like based on that. And I think it will happen at a more widespread basis.
I mean, I do think investment in creators will grow. I'm not disputing that. I think that it will actually start with well-established companies building out their team before we see as much investment on the other side.
I also have that on my list, like in-house content creators, but I actually took it from a different perspective rather than like the company saying, oh, we need to build in-house content creators. I actually think we'll see an influx of employees at companies be like, hey, I want to be a content creator for this company. Like, I want to be the person that becomes like the face of the company or makes content based on the product or service that we do, like an expert within the company.
Do you think companies will move in the direction of faces? Like, I don't think you necessarily have to pick a person, because then you're only one per company, which I think is an interesting spot to be in. And then obviously the ups and downs of if that person wants to leave, they get a better opportunity, like brand affinity, all that stuff. I think maybe they highlight more employees create content, but it doesn't necessarily have to be like a face of the brand.
Yeah, I think that'll probably be a tough lesson for a lot of. I think most businesses are so clueless with it that they'll be open to the idea without. Realistically, like, content is a low risk activity at the end of the day, right? Like, you let somebody make content for you, they leave. It's not like your business kind of like shutters unless that became a huge part of your business. Then it's a different conversation to be had, obviously. So I think a lot of companies will probably be a little bit uneducated to like what it takes to run the content side of things. So they'll probably let one person do it and then that person will leave or, you know, get a different opportunity, whatever. So it could definitely be problematic, but I think people within companies will see that as like an opportunity. Well, maybe it's to get a raise, to add more money to their plate, or maybe it's an outlet for them to not take on risk of being a creator on the side. Or like maybe the company that they're within, they're like passionate about what they're doing there. So they're like, hey, I want to make content for the company rather than individual, which is like, that's a little bit more high risk. I think if you're an individual creator, like going off on your own to try to do it.
Yeah. Well, that's my next prediction. Creators will move towards less of a solo journey. Right now, solo is the hardest. And every creator I talk to through our agency, through my network, just in general, the biggest sticking point is like, you're really going through this all on your own. You edit. The hardest part is actually the solo beginning, which is kind of counterintuitive. You would think that making it as a creator is, so hard. It's because 99% of creators do it on their own. And they don't have a team, and they don't have funding, like you said, and they have to figure it out and go viral and build a community all by themselves. And then it's almost like on easy mode. Like the one that I would point to the most is like Destroying. Like Destroying went from, editing all his own stuff, getting kicked off the team, couldn't post YouTube, couldn't make money off YouTube, like this crazy grind. And then now that he's at this level, it's like, okay, he has access to every football team he could ever want to interact with. He works with the NFL. He has an audience he can bank on. He has an editing team. It's almost like he's now gotten to the easy part. So how do we flip that on its head? I mean, we're going to do a very small piece of that by opening up the office for creators to come in. I mean, even what you did last night with my brother, it's like you come into a pre-existing space with heightened production, camera. Because of being in the space, you're now connected with someone else, so you're not doing it solo. You now have the resources to at least learn about thumbnails and all this stuff, different stuff, just by being here. So I think that's going to continue to trend, and I hope it does, because, God, I wish that was available for me.
Yeah, so that was like one of my biggest ones on here, and one I was eventually going to get to. I had like two that I wasn't really sure how to combine. There will be more one-person media companies start to scale and like hiring out, and that becoming more normalized. I think the reason most things aren't normalized right now, it doesn't have to be like creator economy focused, but people just don't know how to do things, and people don't know that it's okay to do these things. And my other thing that was like related to this is that we're going to be, I think, one of the first businesses or offices that like combine. I don't know if we're necessarily going to be the spark for it, but I think we're going to be one of the first to do something like this. And there have been TikTok houses. There have been like founder houses in New York or whatever. I think what we're doing is different. I think what they do is like business based. Like whoever, all right, you get a TikTok house, right, of like 8 creators. They're not doing it together. It's like someone is in charge of that, and making money off of those creators. The founder houses, they have investments in those people who are in the founding places or whatever. What we're doing is more like, let's get an apartment together, hang out, and see what happens. And I think what this is going to allow individual creators to do is understand that they can do that. Because most, like you said, most creators are starting their journey and they're like lonely, but there are creators that are in that like, I don't know, 25K to 100K following range that make significant money, but don't know what to do with it. And then they might link up with other people in their industry and be like, oh, we could actually like get an office space together that's really not that expensive and like make a business out of this. And right now it just seems ridiculous. Like you don't know if I'm 22 years old, 23 years old, I don't know that that's an option for me.
Yeah.
But us doing that and like documenting the process of it, I think will open it up. And I hope that it becomes and starts a trend of younger creators like doing that. And I think what I've like really settled on is like, I'm passionate about helping individual creators and creator-led small media brands scale up to a point that they're like super comfortable with. So like the one person becoming 10, one person becoming 15, like that I feel like is a sweet spot. And I think what we're doing is going to be able to open that up and escalate that process. And I think that plays itself out over the next 10 years where what we're doing is going to be normalized by then.
What's your next prediction?
Good time to remind people to subscribe.
My next prediction is that you watching behind the screen will go and fucking click subscribe.
What about your prediction a year from now for our subscribers?
What are we at right now?
1,900?
5K.
I was going to say 10K. I think once the year flips, we're in the new office. We're going to have like systems down. I think guests are going to be really important.
That too.
I think guests are going to be really important. I kind of forgot about that. And then we systemize all the thumbnails, the social clips start to go, especially with the guests and consistency. And I think it'd be 10K. I think
I'd be really happy with that.
I also think where we're going to be at and our like just, I guess, opinions in the creator economy in a year could be really powerful based on the growth.
You think we're going to be moving the market?
I don't know if we'll be moving the market, but maybe small markets like
we'll be moving the investor economy.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so another thing that kind of goes off of what I was saying a little bit is I think one of the biggest opportunities as a creator is to find someone who is tech focused to join your team. It's no different, I think, than the way like businesses have been run or people talk about how a business should be run. It's like find one tech person, find one visionary, and like they're the perfect combo of people. And I think most creators, and when I say tech person, it doesn't even mean to be a tech person, but like a product focused person. Almost every creator eventually experiments with like, how do I productize? I don't think like most creators don't like really sit down to be like, let me see if I can find someone who's really good at this and kind of bring them on my team. It took me a very long time to realize that I should probably do that. And we obviously have that now with JL on the team. But I think that will be like a really, really strong focus over the next, 5-10 years of seeing creators become half media companies, half software companies, and sometimes physical products, right? Like I don't want to just say it's like tech products, but physical products. And we're seeing it with some creators now that launch their own physical products. But I think we'll see an emphasis on like these smaller creators that want to put really, really strong quality behind the products that they give out.
But will they be able to afford that, the smaller creators?
I think the answer is yes.
Okay.
I think that they could find someone to work with them, for them, whatever, for maybe equity. Not everyone needs to hire like a senior full stack developer kind of thing where the salary is $200,000, whatever. It might be like you and a friend combining who's like an engineer out of college, right? And like doing it together. And it's got a very startup-y feel, but that's what creators
I was going to say, what about the idea that instead of, out of college or that, it's like JL joins the team off of equity, like you would a traditional startup. Like creator media or creators are a startup and people will join in their belief. Not like, hey, I love your content, I really want to work for you, but like quality talent.
That's exactly what we did.
Yeah.
Like JL has equity in our company now.
Right.
Yeah.
And he came from a real company and quality talent joining. Because I think that's the biggest thing. And then when you think of like, who did I see? Was it Jesser or was it Mr. Beast? I feel like someone just made a hire and it was pretty much like they hired, like when is Jesser Shoe? When are they going to go higher? Like the number 4 guy at Nike?
Yeah. So that's like my prediction is that like creators are going to have the pull to be able to us making these podcasts and like making content like this makes recruiting really, really easy.
But now they have the power, the top ones. Are you saying you think the next level could actually start to pull real?
I'm not saying that at scale. No, my prediction has nothing to do with like pulling the top Nike guys. My prediction, I didn't pull the top Nike guy. I pulled JL, who was a friend of mine that worked at a company that was known and it was a well-established company. That is going to start trickling down. And it's like, you're going to be able to bring on tech people onto your team. A lot of times I would understand why tech people would not want to, because it feels like it's a flimsy standing. It's like, this is not a real company. This is not a real thing. But like creators are going to make enough money and they already are to be able to provide for those types of people. And I think that will be one of their first hires. Like creators right now don't really know. It's like, should I be hiring Ed or should I be hiring this, whatever?
Yeah.
And I think like a tech person could be your second or third hire in that mix.
Yeah. I am interested in the hiring piece because you look at like Barstool, they brought in Erica, right? That was a huge move for them. Mm-hmm. And I think at that scale, they were big enough that it made sense because you didn't think of Dave Portnoy as a creator. You thought of it as a media company. Now that roles are kind of reversed, like, could you really bring in that level of talent to a creator media entity? Yeah. I think, yes, that I think will happen. The biggest question to me is it's probably more needed at the level like under that. Will you be able to bring in maybe not the top Nike guy, but maybe it's like, number 48 down the pecking order, and you start to look at like working for this startup as a quality role as opposed to
it will. I'm telling you, like creators, or at least like intermediate level creators, are going to be, and I already look at this way, and you probably do too, are already like businesses. They're already medium level businesses, but I don't think like the world necessarily looks at them that way yet. But I think they will over the next decade for sure.
My bold prediction, live shopping will have a hype cycle equivalent to being a YouTuber, crypto, NFT, like where a live shopping influencer or ambassador or whatever it might be, they will literally become one of the most famous people in America for a period of time. Not forever. I'm not saying they're going to be an A-list celebrity forever. But I think they will have a rise where, like, Charli D'Amelio is known by the general public for a short period of time. A live shopping influencer, that will happen over the next 24 months.
What exactly is a live shopper?
So, yes, for those who don't know, I think live shopping, and it's funny I say this, I actually am not a believer in live shopping.
Oh, I had a few follow-up questions.
I think it's stupid and I hate it, but I do have to acknowledge I think it will be a trend. Will it be a trend that lasts? That's why I put hype cycle, because I don't know, like some hype cycles, they sustain. Like the Drewski hype cycle has sustained. He's still hilarious as he was, 3 years ago. Live shopping is super popular in Asia. It's essentially like someone talking to you. I think on TV it's called like QVC, right? So it's the same exact thing. And you've already seen TikTok add their shop tab. This is common, like sports cards. Whatnot has now added on to sports cards and collectibles, and they'll do clothes. You've got this app. What was the app that Hallie was just making all her friends sign up for? Yeah. What was it?
I don't know. I haven't downloaded it.
It's not Wish, right?
OnlyFans?
Flip. So Flip, they're this platform where you could shop for stuff, and then it's pretty much like personal reviews, right? Like, so she would buy something, review it, and then she would get rewarded for it. The ultimate end goal is, and it's already popular in Asia, is live shopping. So what's going to happen is people are going to be live in-app, trying stuff on, showing how it fits, showing what they like, and selling clothes to people.
Where does that prediction come from for you personally? Like, is there anecdotal pieces of you that...
I know that it's already happened in Asia. It's the biggest thing. I know that TikTok is moving in that direction. All social platforms, or most are, trying to capture that market. And then my personal anecdote is my fiance, who shops a lot. And I can already see why it makes a ton of sense. Like, the evolution has gone from, look at TikTok. TikTok is literally an on-demand shopping platform, like the way those people consume content. They watch what Alex Earl puts on, they see how she talks about it, how it looks on her, and then they decide to make a buy or not. And I think we're just going to level up from there because that's what all the platforms push.
It's like eBay when eBay was
it's literally
eBay. This was something I wrestled with when making these predictions was how much do I believe that this will happen based on for instance, esports. Everyone has basically been saying that esports is going to be the next biggest sport in 10 years from now. People have been saying that for 5 years, and I have no doubt that the popularity has been
for longer, for 10 years.
Whatever, yeah. And me, I'm like, I'm not interested in watching that. I understand that the popularity is rising. Yeah. And then I look and I think it's really easy to dive into headlines and not actually just look at your real life and what's going on in culture, because I wanted to make a prediction about YouTube Shorts. And I was like, the only real, tangible impact YouTube Shorts has on in my life is when I see it, when I upload. I've never once had a conversation with a friend who sent me something and been like, yo, check out this YouTube short.
But I know people who watch YouTube Shorts, which is crazy.
I don't. So I'm saying, I wrestled with
who actually that you know. People in the content creation world, because I don't think my friends would even.
Do you know what I mean?
YouTube
okay,
but
that's what I mean. That's the reason I believe in TikTok is because every friend group is like, "Yo, check out this TikTok." Where people are like, "YouTube Shorts can be the next biggest thing." It's based on.
Do you believe in Instagram Reels?
No. I like Reels because
I've never once watched a Reel.
Your friends don't send you any?
Well,
via DM?
I have two friends who won't download TikTok, but then they'll just send the reel that I saw on TikTok.
Okay, there you go. That's enough for me.
Well, all content.
So I send Reels to my friends all the time.
All content now is Reels, just on your homepage. But I never have used the Reels tab to scroll like I have TikTok.
Okay, I have.
Yeah,
I use that pretty often.
And that's all I'm saying is yes, I do think it's a good exercise to understand, and it's
right. And this is why I was asking you. I agree. This is why I was saying I was wrestling with it because there are things I don't believe in, though I can feel that other people do. And that's why I don't even have a prediction on it.
Okay.
Which is why I asked you about the live shopping thing.
So the reason with live shopping that, like I said, I won't use it, or at least I don't think I will use it. I get why there's doubt to it, but I also have seen it exist in other worlds. And why do I think it'll transfer over? I think it's because it hasn't existed. That's kind of what I'm saying. TikTok has existed. IG Reels has existed. YouTube Shorts was not new. The only time we've never seen live shopping in the United States on social, but when it was on TV, the QVC is one of the most popular, right? So it's not like a new concept. Sure. It's just a new medium. And so anyways, the actual prediction was about, I think that one person is going to become such a mega star that they are going to just capture that market. Then everyone will follow. People will get into it. And then you'll have, the same tiered things. But it's going to take immense talent and hard work. The person is going to be one of the best entertainers of all time. They're going to find their way through this, and then they'll become a megastar. And they'll do movies.
So do you think they're going to be, sorry if you do you think they're going to be, hired by a company already and then just explode as a megastar?
I think that,
how do you think they do this?
I think it starts independently.
Okay.
So because I still think that's the path, right? You could see an Abercrombie and Fitch hiring a bunch of creators.
I almost feel like that might be more likely.
Those people are upscale models and salespeople to a degree. And I think people you'll win out of that. But I think the person who truly wins is the one who starts neutral. So the trust gets built from day one.
Where I think could also happen is I think the person that doesn't set, I almost feel like whoever it is that pops off and becomes this viral sensation for a little while is going to do so almost accidentally. In the same way that dude with the ocean spray bottle, the skateboard or whatever came wildly popular for no reason. He just made a TikTok. I could see a company putting somebody on, or the person is accidentally in the video or just makes one silly video or something like that, becoming that person for you. Not someone who's necessarily an independent brand trying to get there.
Yeah. We'll see. I think live shopping is stupid, but it makes 100% sense to me. Okay. I just don't shop that much.
Okay. This kind of goes back to the point I was just making. This could be an all-time bad call. And this is just one for this upcoming year. I don't think AI is going to really impact creators much this year. I don't think relative to the way people talk about AI on a daily basis, I don't think it's really impacted almost anyone that's not tech focused up to this point. And I don't think it will have an immense impact until 2025, 2026.
I think it'll be longer than that. And I think we should probably stop talking about it because you talk a lot about it. And I do think if you embraced it, it could 100%.
It's just not there yet. There's not a ton of usable tools.
It's the same as VR. Like VR still isn't here.
Okay. On that note, the Apple VR headset, I think, will be the most impactful tech product over the next decade.
Wow.
Like literally, I think this upcoming product launch of this, I'm buying 2 of them. I'm already telling you, I'm buying 2 of them.
Why 2?
One to use and one to keep in the case, in the original case. I've never been more fucking serious about anything in my life. Yeah.
No, I mean, how like the original iPhone just sold for like 80 grand or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why.
This will be a product, I think, that.
So why wouldn't you buy like 10?
That's just a lot of upfront cash to just like sit there. I mean, it's risk reward, but I like truly believe in this. It's not like a VR headset. It's not like the traditional VR headsets. It is something that's, I feel, is so fucking powerful. I'm telling you, I haven't really believed in something.
If
like
you
this.
have you played with Oculus before?
No.
Really?
Never put on a VR headset.
Oh, that's mind blowing that you have that take them. Put on a VR headset and then I get it. It's the most mind boggling experience. And then you see why it hasn't arrived yet. It's because the tech just still isn't there. You're making a bet on Apple. It's normally a pretty good bet. I don't think this stuff happens as quickly as you would think. Flying cars still aren't here. Electric cars still are finally here, but I'm sure they were touted as being here a decade ago. Self-driving cars still really aren't here yet. This is obviously different. I think when you say in the next decade, I think we probably don't actually see it come to fruition.
I don't know if this first VR headset for Apple is going to be the one, but I'm telling you, it's a million times closer than any other product that's coming out.
Oh, yeah.
And I just started thinking, like, in my mind, the way it started going about how it's going to revolutionize every industry is it's you put it on and it can see everything in front of you, obviously, and it has 25 cameras inside, 25 cameras outside. So it sees exactly where your eyes are moving, and it's like spot on with where it goes. My mind immediately went to like, okay, someone's going to create like a fitness app where it could see the equipment you have in front of you, and you're going to put in your goals, and it's literally going to have like, you're trying to build your chest muscle. It's like, wait 46 more seconds because your heart rate is at this elevation right now, VO2 max. Now go lay on that bench right now, do 8 reps of 25 pounds. And like, it's going to be able to literally push you through life towards your goal.
You need to put on a headset. It's already there.
Yeah. Which is why I'm fucking excited about this. I'm telling you.
How does it impact the creator economy?
I don't know off the top of my head, but in the same way that like the iPhone fucking.
Imagine live shopping, but you're actually in the store.
Facts.
Yeah.
Like being able to see anything. Oh, like another example that they put, like you could buy, he was like, I got to see an example of what it would be like to buy courtside seats at a game. Like you're going to be able to buy $10 to $15 courtside seats at games.
Saying that for years.
Yeah. And he's like, it's obviously not the same as being in the stadium, but
it's close.
It's pretty damn fucking close. And
I've always said $5 to $10, I'm sitting courtside, and you hear, like when you put on that headset, it feels fucking real.
Yeah. So what I think it will impact really heavily is live streams. Yeah. Like you being able to be there with the person about whatever they're doing. Like live streams will happen. Or obviously you could like live stream and talk right now. Like I can go on YouTube and whatever. But you're going to be able to do things and experience things with the headset on and live stream that in the moment. Like our fantasy draft or whatever that we do, like the draft day party, I could put a headset on and live stream that to YouTube the entire time. You could see my entire POV point of view of that kind of stuff. So I think live streams will go.
Do you think it's going to be dangerous? Not that it matters and not that it's up to you.
Dangerous in what way?
Like, I guess you have to experience it to really understand where this is coming from. But like once you're in there, there's not really a reason to leave.
With great power comes great responsibility.
100%. I actually think once they find like a form factor where they'll eventually get it down to a point where it's like sunglasses. Like the power of the Apple VR headset is in your sunglasses. And I think we'll live in there like fucking 90%
Have you ever seen the movie?
The movie?
Do you know what the movie I'm talking about? There's it's a book first, and then it was a movie.
I don't know what you're talking about, but yes, like that's where I see. I'm telling you, it was like the way he presented it, and there was like 3 screens, and I imagine like we're just sitting here doing all my work on the 3 screens.
Ready Player One.
Yes, okay, I've seen that. Yeah.
Like after I put on a headset and then watch that movie, I'm like, yeah,
It's over. It's over.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that everyone will have pushback on at first. Isn't that how we're supposed to do it? And then every part of their life becomes better, more efficient, easier, whatever, and then they'll stop complaining about it.
It does, and then, but then when you're living real life, I actually think that as impactful as it will be, that will be the first.
That'll be like the big reset where people are like, holy fuck, we got to slow down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that too.
Because I'm going to get home from work, right?
Apple's going to make $10 bajillion off it first, though.
Yeah, of course. I buy Apple stock.
So will I.
Not financial
sell
advice.
the first edition.
You get home from work, you buy the headset. Okay, now I'm going to easily be able to order food tonight by clicking a button that's automatically connected to my shit. I'm going to be able to like see it live and actually know what I'm in the mood for while watching something on Netflix. Then my friend's going to call me all while I'm in this headset. And so from like 6 o'clock till midnight, I can just consume what I'm pretty much doing on my phone and my TV, but just hands-free and just like touching things in front of my face. Oh, and by the way, when I take off that headset, I'm back to reality. And reality is nothing like this virtual reality I'm living in, which is way better. So it's, as a huge proponent of it, which I am, and I too would make a bet on it, I do think it's going to be a crazy situation.
It is. You got to embrace it. We're going courtside, Jack. We don't got to sit in section 119 anymore.
All right. I actually think you'll like this one. I think content's going to become so serious that patents and plagiarism for editing styles, for content creation styles, I think that will become a thing in the future. Now, it's tough to say that because I always like to remind people that content has existed for thousands of years. Like newspaper, that's content. Like articles are content. TV was content. Movies are content. And music is content. And people have been ripping off the best parts of songs, using them as samples, and then putting them into their music. So I don't necessarily know if this will come to fruition, but I do think that some people's editing styles, the formats that they use, they're truly theirs. And then people just get to copy them. And they get looked down upon, maybe, but not like in school, where plagiarism, you would actually get kicked out of school. Whereas opposed to today, maybe your comment section is like, wow, you just ripped off that person's video. But like, you could still get 1 million views on it. And even if 40% of the comments are bad, 60%.
How do they enforce that though? Like who's enforcing that? How does that get enforced if it's not already been enforced?
That's what I'm saying. I think that gets built out and there becomes a system.
So one thing I think
that protects creators' content.
You know what I think will happen? I don't know if it's up the same exact alley, but I think that with AI and people being able to generate like fake songs from people, this is where I think the blockchain actually has its moment. This is where I think blockchain actually matters in the world. People are like, crypto's back up or something recently.
Yeah,
I haven't been paying attention at all because in my mind, I'm like, this doesn't matter because nothing in real life is applicable yet. Yeah. Like in order for this to be sustaining and like Bitcoin really to be worth $1 million or whatever, like something in the real world has to change. Like America has to be like, we're using Bitcoin as our main company. Then it's like, okay, I believe that the price of Bitcoin makes sense now. For it to just randomly go up for the fuck of it is dumb as fuck. But I think what will happen is almost in the sense that like the blue check mark made you know that it was someone's official account. There will be whatever, I'm not sure what it's going to be, like what the form factor is going to be for it, but the blockchain will have its own blue check mark version of content. So you'll see something and it'll be like, holy fuck, that's Jack. It doesn't have the blue check mark. So you know right away that's not him. It was AI generated. Yeah. I think that's where the blockchain's big first like human impact will be.
This is my last prediction. I already went in on YouTube. I think YouTube's going to gravitate. Would you call YouTube social media?
Yeah.
Okay. So then I guess my prediction is that YouTube no longer is social media. It's just the media hub or the go-to.
It's kind of going back to your first prediction in a way.
No. So I'm prefacing that for this take. I think the most successful social platform over the next 10 years already exists, and it's called Reddit. I think Reddit. You don't like this, or you do?
No, I'm intrigued. You've got my attention.
Okay, good.
You did before. I haven't been paying attention.
I think that I think Reddit has a world of potential that they've yet to reach, and they've got a community that is just rabid, because it's just very good content for each individualized community. I think that they figure out video, which I think is a necessary component to, and I could be wrong with how they do it, but that is how I think it's going to transpire. Like every platform we've seen has gone from written to video. Now you could say that Reddit is successful because they haven't, and that's like the one place to find written. I think that they figure out video, and then I think they become the biggest social platform.
Do you think, okay, one, I like it. I like this. Reddit.
Oh, one last thing. I don't use Reddit.
I'm not a power user by any means.
Yeah.
But I think everybody, why I like this is because at the core of what Reddit is, everyone knows that you get the best answers from Reddit. Yeah. Anytime you have a question for Google just a middleman. You're like, you have to type in the question, Reddit at the end of it, and you know you're getting the best possible answer from that. Yeah. And that's the brand that Reddit has built out, being like the most truthful, human, relatable source.
Okay, here's why. Here's why. I actually know why.
Because it's anonymous answers?
Not just that. Because anything in life, the best is just data, right? And the most amount of data, as much as YouTube is helpful for that, and as much as Google you would think would be helpful, but you can fuck with the YouTube algorithm by paying. You can't pay to be the top review on Reddit. Therefore, YouTube, there's just not as much data behind it, right? So it's like, what are the best 10 cameras? Only 10,000 people have reviewed cameras and made videos of them. But 1 million people can write something in 2 seconds, and then it starts filtering all this data, and now we've got an answer. If you Google who has the best cameras, well, Sony has a sponsored ad, and then this list by Tech Hub, which Sony is also paying, right? So to your point, the truest answer is on Reddit. So maybe they don't even need video.
How does the creator use Reddit to... If it's
so if you're...
I don't think it's that different because I feel like Reddit has kind of gamified like your status on Reddit, no? I also don't know.
Yeah, they've had that for a while. So which encourages people to participate.
But I think that doesn't differentiate it that much from other platforms from a creator standpoint.
What do you mean?
How does a creator use Reddit in the same way that they would use any platform? It's almost like a blog platform.
Yeah, I'm not saying...
I'm not arguing against you. I was just kind of thinking out loud.
No, I'm also generally wondering
how does the creator...
Like I've tried to, because Reddit's massive for everything, and for specifically soccer, it's a huge platform because there isn't like a good aggregator for soccer news.
Right.
It's like I've tried to push my own stuff onto it, but it doesn't ever work. First of all, like you have to join communities, you have to gain like you have to gain a certain amount of points to join communities.
That's what you have to do. That's the problem. It's not that it doesn't work; it's that it's hard as fuck.
Which makes it like if you're like
to me, it's like building a Twitter profile.
Yeah, except Twitter's like
just put out your locks.
Huh?
Put out your locks.
Yeah, exactly. Well, literally, that's kind of how you do it. Yeah.
No, but that is to answer your question. How does a creator use it? It's how you would build a Twitter profile.
Why do you think Reddit's going to be the biggest one though? Let me ask you, do you know when Reddit was started?
Yeah, it was 2008.
2005.
It's probably the longest.
2005.
Yeah.
How much innovation has gone into Reddit since they started?
There's been a lot, but there hasn't, which is kind of the funny thing.
Why do you
founded by Alexis Ohanian?
Why do you think predicting that also means that like Reddit wants to do that? In order for them to like, why would they want to? Because they have a diehard group, right? Like going to video, you know, is going to piss off all the Reddit user base for no reason, just because. But it's going to be a problem.
Yeah. So let me just preface by saying that's how I would think that they would get there. That's not my prediction that it's going to be via video. My prediction is that Reddit is going to become the biggest.
Right. But in order to become the biggest platform, they're going to have to innovate in some way. I'm saying, why do you think they want to do that?
Or because it is the truth. That's kind of like what their brand is. Fake news, split algorithms, all misinformation, not knowing where to trust. I think maybe it just gets back to the place where like, I
guess my point is if it's been that the whole time, why does it
because we've never reached. Yeah, I guess the prediction would be we've never reached a breaking point in life in society where it's been this bad. Where I'm scrolling Twitter and obviously like I'm pro-Israel in that Israel-Hamas conflict. So what is my algorithm going to tell me? It's only going to feed me shit. On Reddit, yes, if you go search shit, you're going to find what you want to find. But if you really went to a Reddit post that was like the Israel-Palestine conflict broken down.
Yeah, you could like type in like pros and cons for Israel. Yeah, Hamas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And on no other platform are you going to get that.
I agree. I just like, for me, that doesn't feel like a...
So
I have a hard time getting it there.
So from a creator standpoint, I think it's probably like a better version of Discord to a degree if you can upkeep that maintenance. Like Discord's just like it's flying. It's not VOD. That's the biggest problem. It's not anything on demand. You're either in Discord for the moment or you're not. I think that's why Clubhouse failed. I think that's why Twitter Spaces failed. I think that's why I don't like Twitch, because I can never find the VOD. Live streams are
great. Like if you're not there in the moment, you're missing out on
right.
it.
And I don't really. That's just not user behavior. It's just not like sports games are like, there's one thing in life where people will show up on time 10 times out of time. It's for live sports. Like that's it. It was that. And like you wanted to be around for Game of Thrones, but if you couldn't make it Sunday at 6:00, like you just watched it the next day. It didn't really matter. So outside of sports, like your content is just not powerful. And like even Mr. Beast, no, he doesn't premiere his content because no one cares. And even if he were, then 90% of people would watch it, long tail anyway. So I think that Reddit's going to be once again, I don't use Reddit. So my two bold predictions are probably ironic given that I'm not following that user behavior. But I think that as a creator, sorry, we're trying to answer that question. How would a creator? So people have like their own Reddit, I guess, things, and people will comment on them, discuss things about them. How would I utilize a Reddit? I don't know. I think it depends on the creator. I don't know if I could give like a blanket way to.
Well, here's what I would say. One of my predictions for the next few years, maybe just this year, whatever, is that creators will start to focus on a singular platform. Creators, I think right now are getting so far ahead of themselves, being like, I got to be on YouTube, I got to be on TikTok, I got to be on all these things, right? Where I think the only thing you need to do is worry about gaining leverage on one platform. And a lot of good will come from that. And I think if you don't want to write, I really wouldn't be on Reddit. I wouldn't waste my time or my energy. Yeah. If you do, then maybe Reddit is the place for you. And Reddit, I think, has that like maybe a Walmart version of like TikTok virality. You write something good enough, you make a good enough piece of content, it starts flooding with upvotes. It's gonna shoot up there, and you'll get a following based off of that. Mm-hmm. Whereas that won't happen. If you start a blog tomorrow, you go to like fucking WordPress.com, start a producerblog.com,
and you tweet it out,
and you wrote the best blog post of all time. Doesn't matter. 6 people are gonna see it. Yeah. Where I think Reddit has that discoverability within their platform. So I would say creators are going to focus on one platform. They should be focusing on one platform, gain leverage there. And then when you have time to focus on other ones, that's when it happens. Because so many creators are spreading themselves thin, trying to be everywhere right now when they haven't been anywhere. You know what I mean? Like they haven't got one specific thing down yet that has driven them. And I rode YouTube for fucking 7 years. Of just, and it supplemented my entire life. It financialized my entire life. It supplemented my entire life. And now that we have a team, started focused on TikTok. Yeah. Like, you don't see me focusing heavily on Instagram or Twitter or any of these other platforms because that shit is all the ROI we need. Yeah. And as soon as it runs out or if we hit a leverage point elsewhere, almost on accident, we'll go after that. But I think creators, to answer your question more so with Reddit, and my prediction is like, I wouldn't try to go after it unless you like to write. And if so, I think that is one of the very few writing compatible discoverability platforms in a sense. That's a prediction. I think most creators will start to focus on one platform, gain a lot of leverage there, and then maybe scale the team so that a team can help them focus on other platforms.
Yeah, we did it that way.
It's really overwhelming trying to do everything at once by yourself.
You literally can't.
Yeah, I just did Twitter on its own until now that I have more time, I started TikTok. But still, like, I focus on the main platform and then...
Yeah. And as much as you're focused on TikTok, where would you say more resources and time go now? Is it still that old platform? Like for us, that's still our core, even though we've now added additional platforms.
It's probably 50-50 my time It's really hard to say because everybody in here works on both YouTube and TikTok, so I can't really figure out the top of my.
But if YouTube went away, if YouTube went away, do you think you could make it off TikTok?
If we put all of our focus into it, which would probably be what we did, yeah I think so. Okay. So I had like a few others that I didn't get to flesh out full ideas for because I'm not sure where I wanted to go with them. I wanted to say something about the monetization platforms right now, like the way Snapchat is paying people, the way TikTok is paying people. I don't know what my prediction for that is, but I'm more just like interested in seeing how it plays out because this is kind of the first time I feel as if platforms have finally, like all the money that they've made has gone back into, I don't know, developing the platforms or whatever. But now they're having to add this whole entire investment arm of their business back into creators. So it's kind of interesting to see, or going to be interesting to see how that plays out because it doesn't feel like it's sustainable, but maybe it is because like at the end of the day, these platforms are made up of creators. Like they are what makes the platforms. So maybe they do need to pay them. I don't know. Like, do you have any thought on like how this will play itself out? Because there's a lot of me that just says they're giving so much money to creators for shit quality content. Like it's got to run out eventually.
I mean, we've discussed in the past, like, do we think that creator funds and Snap beta program will continue? I mean, honestly, this past year was a crazy bad market. Like, if you made it through, if you're, I think it's probably encouraging. If you're a creator who by 2025 is like in a better spot than you were, you're probably going to make it. Like, I think that this past year and maybe the year even coming up, it's going to be it's going to brutalize people. Like, it's going to, not frauds and the real, but like it will expose people and it'll turn them into long-term thinkers and know that this stuff doesn't happen overnight. But do I think that, I hope the platforms keep paying because from my understanding, I mean, we've never been dependent on platforms to pay, but that's not possible for everyone.
There's part of me that's like, I like it. And there's part of me that I think platforms not paying was almost good in what you just said. Like if creators had,
it forced you to become a business person.
Correct. It's like,
that's what every creator needs to do.
Yeah. They need to become a business person, but more importantly, becoming a business person is not really becoming a business person. It's more like making content in a way that connects with your audience. I think business comes really easy if you make great content, really high quality, engaging.
Yeah, but you're talking about building community and audience, which I think is what a business tries to accomplish.
Community will get you 99% of the way. All you got to do is kick the ball in the open net, I think, business-wise. You can be great at business and make it that way, obviously, and have great product and stuff. But I think what it incentivizes was like...
I'm talking about the intangibles of business.
So am I. I'm taking a really long route to probably get to the point I'm trying to say here. Like what... If platforms didn't pay people, people would make content for a long time and they would try to sell things.
Yes.
And then they would realize that like, fuck, I'm not being good at selling things. And it's because you're not good at making content. And it's because you're not good at building community. It's because you're not teaching people or being valuable or engaging with people. And that is the long tail effect of having to make money in another way, is it teaches you these intangibles that if you're not in it for the long haul, if you're just doing gimmicky, tacticky things to get 100,000 views on a video, it doesn't matter because you're not getting paid for it.
Okay. I think that's probably the best thing that you've said on this show.
Thank you.
I'm also going to offer a counter, which is the platform that I trust the most, YouTube, as we've discussed, actually does pay people based on content. And so how do you, I guess, manage those two? Because that is a business, like trying to gain viewership. I guess it's not a scalable business. Like the math, what I've learned of YouTube monetization actually isn't. So do they not pay you? Like you don't make your money via YouTube.
No. We actually have started to make some pretty fucking serious money on the trivia channel. For the people doing it the right way to begin with, the money I don't think will dictate it. But for the people doing it the wrong way, the money, not making the money, will tell you that you need to change your ways.
Right. Like you're probably trying to think of other ways you could replicate trivia now, which I think is a smart thing.
But
does it take away from who you are as a company?
Wait, Go back. What do you mean by that?
Like, wouldn't you replicate trivia 5 times over? Would you say that's the best pound for pound thing you guys do to make revenue?
Maybe.
So wouldn't, in theory, you try and replicate that as much as possible or scale that?
I think we are. We're doing as much volume as we can, pretty much.
Okay, I'll give you an example. Snapchat shows were like a gold mine 2 years ago. We had one Snapchat show that over the course of a year made like fucking $100,000 or something. Like, it was insane. Like a 3-minute show once a week, $100,000. And it was just based off viewership. And so we're like, okay, well, let's make a second show. So we had another show and it made $70,000. So now we're like, all right, well, let's shift our business to having 12 shows because that's like, we're going to make so much money doing this.
Well, that feels like you're trying to figure out product market fit still.
No, we weren't. Like, we knew what we did and we knew what content we wanted to do. And now we're start talking about like the drama in sports, which really isn't our thing. But because we know that it's going to make a shit ton of money, like, we start doing that. It doesn't add to our company value besides on the bottom line.
Sure.
So what I'm saying, and that's a pay based off viewership. And so what I'm saying to you is, how do you be careful enough to, be conscious of like, okay, trivia, that fits what you guys do. But then it becomes something like, well, it kind of fits what we do. And I know we'll make a lot of money doing it.
Okay. So we don't have those discussions. Yeah. We haven't had those. We're not like, I think almost everything we do has started off as a natural progression. And then maybe we dive in and say like, hey, can we do this more? Can we do it?
But I think this is the pitfall of paid content, essentially.
I see what you're saying.
Content monetization.
And it kind of goes back to what I was saying was that like when the platforms do pay you, it could incentivize you the wrong way. And what I was saying was that like the people doing it for the right reasons won't fall victim to that. Thus, we don't have those conversations inside internally. The people who were getting into it for the wrong reasons probably won't make money. And therefore, it will make them change their actions.
Okay.
Behaviors.
Why did you stop doing Ike's Lunch?
We just didn't enjoy doing it.
Okay. Don't you think that if it was a YouTube video that was a 20-minute YouTube video every day,
and it made us a shit ton of money,
and the creator fund, that it would have continued, maybe not forever, but probably for way longer than it should have?
Sure.
And so I think that's what we're warning against, which is like the pitfall. Now, what it didn't do, or what it did do by not having,
how much fucking money we would have made during
that's
that
what I
span?
mean.
Yeah, it would have been sick.
Yeah. But now you're probably lucky that it didn't exist because you'd still be doing it today. You'd fucking despise lunch. You would be.
There'd be a lot of resentment.
There would be a lot of resentment. And what it did do, it did two things. One, it showed like what you actually wanted to accomplish, which had nothing to do with that. And two, it did show you ways to monetize that audience and build community the right way. You built tech and built product because of it. Mm-hmm. And you sold merch that actually fit the market, right? Instead of just continuing to do something you didn't want to do. So
that's a good point.
Yeah. Content monetization so I think the answer is it won't necessarily stop, but it's something that we're very conscious of, and it's like flattening and hedging your revenue so that you don't get to a spot where it's like, well, Ike's Lunch, I don't love it, but it's like 60% of the money we make, and we should, like, how are we possibly cut that?
Yeah.
You should always be conscious about, where money is coming from.
Yeah. I mean, it should definitely be a fine mix of like, I enjoy doing it, plus I enjoy, and it's making me money, you know, and obviously if you found a combination of the two, and that's kind of,
but I'm saying you need to constantly evaluate that because you need to have other avenues, or else you get trapped to saying, okay, well, I don't like it anymore, but it is our entire revenue.
It's not much different than like when we were answering Will's question last week or 2 weeks ago, or whatever. It's like when you have a viral video, not much different. It's like, make sure that if you want to keep going down this path, it's something that you actually enjoy doing, because whether it's making money or making views, same thing in a creator mind for the most part, is like, you have to be very careful when you go down that path, because if it starts making money, then you start to rely on it. And that's where selling out, in a sense, could become a big problem, because you sell out when you're in a point where you don't have leverage, because you need to get somewhere else. So you're selling out yourself to get there. So we're gonna end there. Those are our predictions for the creator economy over the next year, 3 years, 5 years.
Yeah, and if you're watching
10
this
years.
in 2033, throw down a comment.
Fuck yeah.
And be like, wow, these fucking idiots got that.
Nick was crazy, right?
Or
Jack
you're like,
all over the
I'm
place.
literally watching this off my Apple headset.
Facts.
That'll
I'm gonna
be cool.
in 1 year. I'm gonna go back and watch this off my Apple VR headset. Oh,
And you'll be like, I wish I shaved.
it's gonna be so sick. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out. If you have any predictions for the creator economy, we'd love to hear them down below in the comment section. While you're down there, hit the button that looks like this. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are new. We'll be talking everything creator economy, media, social platforms, etc. Helping y'all hopefully going forward. Every Monday, noon Eastern time. We live. Hang.